Yeah, I'm making another One Piece video. Hey guys, what's up? And today we are going to be continuing my One Piece journey videos, if you want to call them that. I know I said that my next video would be an Overlord video, getting back to my usual schedule. However, I have just been too absorbed in One Piece lately. I can't help it but to make a video about it. My basic schedule that has kind of happened over the past week or so is I finish work, I go to the gym, I come back home. If I don't have anything else, I pretty much spend the rest of my night watching One Piece episodes. I'm spending way too much free time watching One Piece to not talk about it right now. So in this video, I wanted to cover all of the pre-Alabasta story arcs in the second saga, the Baroque's Works saga. So starting off this video, there is something I actually left out of the last video, I guess, which is Logtown. Logtown isn't in the Grand Line, so I don't know if it counts or not, but I guess you could say this is it's like the transitional arc between the East Blue Saga and the Baroque's Works saga. So Logtown was a pretty short arc, but I think it has a lot of like historical significance to like the lore of One Piece, you know, being the birthplace and death place of Gold D. Roger. And then we get introduced to Smoker, who I know is a recurring character in the show. Like I said, guys, I'm not a completely new person coming into One Piece. I do know some things about it, so I know Smoker appears more than once. It's important to introduce him in this arc. Now, a character I didn't know about is Tashigi, who meets Zoro and has this whole kind of like mini arc with Zoro, which I actually really liked. Like, I liked zeroing in on Zoro because, you know, everyone really likes Zoro, I feel like. And to be honest, sometimes I like Zoro more than Luffy. I know saying that might get me a billion berry bounty on the One Piece community boards if I say I don't like something about Luffy.
What did he say? What the fuck? What the fuck?
But to me, Zoro is the perfect, like, straight arrow character to Luffy. Well, I guess not really a straight arrow for Zoro because he can't follow a straight line.
Oh, brother!
But you get what I'm saying. He's Luffy's rock, he's Luffy's straight man, you know, because Luffy is just this ridiculously freaking crazy ass-munching character. We have to have Zoro there as a balancing act to that, in my opinion, even though Zoro does get pulled into the hilarity of Luffy every now and then. So I really liked this little mini arc with Tashigi and Zoro and also the sword lore of the Owazamono, I think that's what they're called. I didn't know about the sword lore either. I'm assuming Mihawk's blade is like top tier or whatever she said. Is there any specific reason Tashigi looks exactly like Kuina, or is that just a coincidence? I don't know. And she also has like apparently a similar personality to Kuina as well. This was also interesting to me because this is the first time Luffy is like straight up defeated. Smoker is pretty much invincible, so, you know, Luffy can't beat him. Smoker beats Luffy in this scene. Like, he basically captured him, and the only reason he got away was because of Dragon. I know who that was. You know, you didn't have, I don't think that's a big spoiler just to know who the guy is. I didn't know he appeared this early on in the show. I did think that was interesting, and I think, is this the first Logia Devil Fruit that we see in the show? Yeah, once again, I know what the types are. In my opinion, Logia Devil Fruits are the most OP. They're freaking broken. So yeah, Logtown, it was a short arc, but I liked the little side stories going on. So then we have the next two bits, which I don't really even count these as arcs because they're just so short. I mean, technically they are, I guess, but they're really, really short, and that's Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak. Now, these two arcs, in my opinion, were really just to introduce Baroque's Works as the main villains of this saga, and then also the main, you know, drive of this arc, which is returning Vivi to Alabasta. There is one thing I want to say before we get into this. I really wish there were more scenes of the Straw Hats just chilling on the Mary, or you know, just chilling, going from place to place. I wish there was more of a transitional period in between the places because I just like seeing them like just hang out. You know, I wish there was more of that. So I guess the big thing that caught me in Reverse Mountain is Laboon, of course, who has the second saddest animal backstory in this saga of One Piece, in my opinion. I thought it was so bad. I was like listening to Laboon's backstory and I was like, God, like how bad of a backstory are, like, we just keep upping the backstories of characters in One Piece. Like, oh, my best friend died. Oh, my mentor ate his leg. Oh, my village got controlled by fishmen and my adopted mom was killed. Oh, I got abandoned by these people. Like, I was like, how many sad backstories are we gonna do in One Piece? We're just gonna keep upping the sadness scale of backstories till you're bawling your eyes out. I had never heard of this Laboon person. I wasn't sure if Laboon was gonna be a big thing reintroduced. It It seems like Laboon is going to be a character that's going to show up again. I don't know how, because from what I understand is you have to go all the way around in order to get back to Reverse Mountain, so I'm not sure, but to me it seems like we're gonna see those two people again. But in terms of right now, what's probably the most important introduction is, of course, Vivi, who at this point, I guess, is going by Miss Wednesday with her partner Mr. Nine. Now, Whiskey Peak is a huge story arc, because this is basically the arc that kicks off what is going to be the journey for the rest of this saga. So I really like that big clash between Zoro fighting 100 people, which was kind of awesome. I wish it was more of a straight up fight, but that was still pretty cool. But the main thing, of course, that happens in this arc is the info dump on Baroque Works, and also about our main villain for this entire saga, which is Crocodile. And I will say a thing that kind of really piqued my interest early on in this arc is they let us know from the beginning that these top 5 agents and their partners, they all have devil fruit powers. And at this point in the story, you know, all of our main villains in East Blue, only one of them had devil fruit powers, and that was Buggy. All the rest just had like these weird physical things going on with them. Kuro didn't have any devil fruit powers. Arlong didn't have any devil fruit powers. Don Krieg, Mihawk, none of them had devil fruit powers. And then we get this, you know, society of people, and like pretty much every villain we're going to be fighting after Whiskey Peak has devil fruit abilities, which I was like, okay, now we're starting to talk, like we're leveling up here. Not to mention, it's not like just this one person we're going after now. It's this entire huge organization. You know, before it's like the conflicts within like these one village or like this one group of people. We're talking about an entire country here. This is like a world scale event happening. So the scale of the conflict has already leveled up massively. And then of course we get the introduction of Vivi, and I have to say there was one thing that I think I noticed like a little bit later on. Is it me, or did she look completely different before we knew she was Vivi? Like when she was Miss Wednesday, she looked totally different. It looked like she was drawn different. Like she looks like a different character. Like a couple dozen episodes later, like in Drum Island, when she's now Vivi. Like, she looks younger for some reason. I don't know why, but she just looks, to me, a completely different character, like, a little bit later. I don't know if that was just to, like, juxtapose, like, oh, I'm not acting anymore as Miss Wednesday, I'm now gonna be Vivi, or, I don't know, maybe I'm imagining that. But I liked the setup of Whiskey Peak. I really did enjoy, like, hearing more about this stuff, and, you know, we're getting into this big conflict. And, of course, we have the introduction of the baddest woman in One Piece, Nico Robin. And I do know about Nico Robin, guys. Unfortunately, you know, that's just something I couldn't avoid in my 13 years of watching anime. However, I did not know that she started off as a villain, like a straight up, we're on the villain side, I am working with Crocodile, the main bad guy, I am the partner of Crocodile. Like, she is not like just someone that's being manipulated or something. I am a bad person. Like, I did not know about that. And also, man, her design just Then we have Little Garden, which is the first arc, you know, after the introduction of Alabasta's, like, whole story and Baroque Works, you know, proper. Little Garden was okay. You know, it followed our pretty standard formula here. We get into a new place, we get introduced to the place, we find out some stuff going on, we get introduced to some characters that are still there, and then some bad people come in and we get pulled into this larger conflict here. I will say, the introductions of these giant characters, which I was just like, okay, so there's dinosaurs and giants in the world of One Piece, which I didn't know about. That was new to me, so the world is expanding once again. But I guess this arc is also important because it's a proper conflict between Baroque Works and the Straw Hats with their high-level agents fighting the Straw Hats in a direct confrontation, even though we had that one earlier in Whiskey Peak, kind of. It wasn't really like a proper fight. This one is a proper fight. There's like threats and everything like that. Also, we get that interaction between Sanji and Crocodile, which, you know, sets up Crocodile, you know, and gives a little bit more to that, but it doesn't reveal too much. And I think that's a privilege of a series being as long as One Piece is it can take the time to, you know, introduce the villains and everything like that. I view Little Garden really as the first full-scale conflict of the saga, but in terms of like lore and story and stuff, I mean, compared to the arc preceding it and the arc right after it, you know, it definitely falls a little bit lower on the list for me. So then we move on to Drum Island, which I think is the definitive pre-Alabasta, story arc here. Drum Island is actually the one arc of One Piece I think I actually watched a significant chunk of as a kid. When I was watching Drum Island, I was just like, I remember stuff like that. I remember Wapple. Like, when I saw Wapple for the first time, I was like, I remember that dude. And I remember Dalton, and I remember Harrowluck. I remembered Dr. Reen. I remembered all of them. And I was like, when? I must have been like 8, 9 years old when this aired on TV, or maybe even younger than that. One Piece used to air on Toonami, and I was like watching Naruto and stuff at that time. And I think like the One Piece episode came on, and I just like jumped in and maybe watched like a few weeks worth of One Piece episodes that were airing weekly. Obviously, I didn't process like the big plot beats. Like, I didn't remember exactly what was going on with the kingdom, or Harrowluck dying and everything like that. I didn't remember anything like that. I remembered the characters' looks. Like, I was like, I know who that guy is when I saw Dalton. But to me, Drum Island is the equivalent of the Arlong Park arc for this pre-Alabasta, stuff. For me, it's the big one where we have like this massive backstory and story arc and character arc going on with it. And we also have this really horrific, conflict going on here that needs to be shut down. There's actually one little scene that really sticks out to me in this arc, and it's the scene where right after Nami gets sick and they're on the ship and they're all freaking out. They don't know what to do. There's a scene I remember where Nami's asleep and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she looks around and she sees all the Straw Hats are sleeping in the room with her because they wanted to watch her and make sure if anything happened, they'd be there. And then Nami just like looks around and smiles. But I just like really liked that scene because like that just shows like their dynamic. Like, they may get on each other's nerves and everything, but that's what a family does. But at the end of the day though, they're going to do whatever it takes to help them. And I don't know, I really liked that scene. It stuck out to me in my mind. But yeah, Drum Island, Chopper's backstory, that has got to be one of the biggest dick punches I've had in anime in years. Like, I can't remember getting dick punched like that since like Angel Beats or Clannad or something. Like that backstory was horrifying. Even just like the setup for like explaining the kingdom. Oh, we had this really corrupt king, and we took away all the doctors, and then we had this backstory with Harrowluck and how he believed that the true sickness wasn't of the flesh, it was a sickness of the heart, and like we just needed to repair the people's faith in the country and everything like that. And I was like, whoa, that's freaking awesome. And then like Luffy's climb up the mountain was like one of Luffy's hardest moments at this point. Freaking Luffy's fighting frostbite and his hands are bleeding, but he's still climbing up. He's gonna risk it all. And once again showing that when the shit hits the fan, Luffy does turn off the dumbassness. He freaking gets serious when it comes to helping people. And then Chopper's life being a consistent state of suffering for all eternity, and everything bad that can happen to this adorable little reindeer will happen, and I just wanted to help him so bad. I've watched this arc in both sub and dub now at this point. Did anyone know that Dr. Reen's voice actress in Japanese is the same as Goku in Dragon Ball? I remember what they sound like in the dub. In sub, I was like, holy crap, that's Goku! I can't believe it! It sounded exactly like it. I thought that was cool. But yeah, the Drum Island arc just had so many amazing moments. Chopper's backstory, the climb, the moment with the flag where Luffy gets blown up and he's holding the flag, and then of course the cherry blossoms blooming, the Chopper realizing the value of friendship. There's just so many amazing moments, and this was also the arc where we got another massive character development arc, because we got the introduction of Chopper, and then we had to introduce Chopper's backstory, Chopper's life, then we have to introduce Chopper's conflict, and then we have Chopper overcoming that, along with the overarching plot of getting rid of Wapple and restoring the Drum Kingdom. And then one other thing that happens in this arc that sticks it out again to me, I forgot. We are here about a character named Blackbeard. So I will say this, guys. I know who Blackbeard is. I know his name is Marshall D. Teach. And I know what he looks like because I've seen like pictures of him on the internet. I don't know anything about like what his plot significance is. I don't know if you count that as a spoiler or not, just because I know his name is Marshall D. Teach and I know what he looks like and whatever. But I don't know anything about him besides that. I don't know what he does in the story. And then we also meet Ace, who, once again, I guess you could say I'm spoiled on. I knew what he looked like as well beforehand, and I know he's Luffy's brother. Besides that, I don't know anything about him. Like, I don't know what he does in the story. I don't know significance beyond that. And I guess you could say I'm spoiled because I know what they look like and I know what their names are. I wouldn't count that as a spoiler because I don't know what they do in the story, so whatever. And then we leave Drum Island with a new crew member. There's one thing that I thought was funny is that Chopper just met these people, right? Just joined their crew. And then the next arc immediately after this is the Alabasta Arc, which is like a freaking countrywide conflict and like a civil war. It's this massive thing. And like Chopper has to enter into, this is the first thing that Chopper does upon entering the Straw Hats is get involved in a civil war with people he just knows. Like he just met these fuckers. This is kind of a harsh transitioning period for Chopper, like poor kid. But anyway, guys, that kind of sums up my thoughts on the pre-Alabasta arcs of the Baroque Works saga of One Piece. There definitely were some high and lows. Reverse Mountain had like certain characters that I liked, but the story itself wasn't that great. Whiskey Peak was great on the lore, but then there were also like, you know, the conflicts weren't all that big. And then you had Little Garden where the fights were cool, but the story took a little down because it just kind of felt like a side quest. And Drum Island is the pinnacle king of this whole bit, I guess you could say, to me. So guys, next time I'll be doing a video on the big Alabasta arc, the big pinnacle, penultimate arc of this saga. According to Netflix, the Alabasta arc is longer than Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island combined. So this is a huge arc we're about to get into. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed hearing me rant more about my One Piece journey, getting into One Piece. It's been really fun, honestly, getting into One Piece like this. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm keeping a positive outlook. I'm not viewing this as, you know, oh, well, I gotta move forward, get through these 1,000 episodes. This isn't a race to me. I'm enjoying my time, and don't rush it. You know, that way you can enjoy the experiences along with the characters. So guys, what did you think of the pre-Alabasta arcs themselves? What did you think of my thoughts on them? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see another video on my One Piece journey, please like it to let me know. And if you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out more than you know, and it'll let you know when I post in the future. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching to the very end of the video, and I will see you all next time. Bye.